Well, hey y'all, it is Saturday evening at my house, and first of all, I have to apologize. It's been a little bit longer than normal ever since I've made another video. There's plenty of excuses, but from now on, I am going to be attempting to keep more regular videos. Tonight, I'm going to do something that's definitely not Mexican, but you can use it with Mexican food, I'm sure, in some way or another, but it is homemade bread. I actually only recently began to make my own homemade bread consistently because I used to think it would take so long and be so difficult, but it actually is insanely easy. I was surprised when I realized how easy it was and how much less expensive than it is. I can do it for probably about $2 or less a loaf. I definitely will take that any day, and my boys love it, so absolutely. The only time that it takes generally is the time for it to rise. Of course, you're going to need at least a good 3 hours from the time that you begin the process till you're going to be done. Make sure that you've got that time to be at home, unless if you're going to have an outing while it's rising, it's got to be less than an hour long. But otherwise, that's all. I've talked quite enough, and let's get to enjoying some delicious homemade bread. I'm going to begin to warm up, just barely, some milk. You of course can have it either 2% is what I have here. I have used whole milk. I'm certain that you could probably use even the fat-free. I'm going to have approximately maybe a teeny bit more than 2 cups. The measurement is usually 2 cups of milk, and then I'm just going to get it to come to a little bit warmer than room temperature. That's all that I'm looking for. You do not want it to be even warm, because that will kill your yeast. While I am beginning to warm up that milk just ever so slightly, I'm taking some of this. It's going to be 2 1/4 teaspoons. If you get just those little packets up until you learn how to make bread better, that's actually what I did when I first began a few weeks ago. I have made my own bread before, but I've never done it with measured out yeast. It's always been with those packets, but hey, it works. So I'm doing 2 1/4 teaspoons. Then also, I'm going to do a heaping tablespoon of sugar. Some people I remember seeing online or whatever that they also did honey or something along that lines. But hey, you have some type of sweetener in there, preferably probably honey or sugar. Now that this milk is just warmer than room temperature, I'm going to just gently pour it into this bowl with the yeast. And we're going to wait for just a minute while it kind of mixes with the yeast and the sugar. It should begin to form some gentle bubbles. It's not going to take long. I know that it's probably extremely difficult to see up there, but I'm starting to see some bubbles form. I think it's pretty much ready for the next step, which is going to be that I'm going to add a tablespoon of cooking oil, whatever that you would use for cooking. And then we're going to get 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. Alright, and it looks like it's pretty much ready to get that flour going. And then we're going to start to whisk it up gently, slowly, because we don't need it flying everywhere. It's somewhat mixed together, so next we're going to do a little bit more flour, but we're going to only add it at 1/2 cup intervals. And I apologize, I was not paying attention. I did a full cup, so I'm going to have to do very gently. Some people, they can get up to 5 cups of flour in here. This is at 4 cups here. I may not be able to put much more flour in here after that, no guarantees. It still has a little bit of room that it could add a little bit more. So I'm going to do 1 more 1/2 cup. The recipe that I got mine from, although I changed it up a little bit, it said it could be up to 5 cups, but I've never ever gotten more than 4 1/2 with mine in particular. We shall see how this does. And as you can see, it's kind of a little bit of a mess. That's why I try to not make it more than 4 1/2. And as you see, that's kind of wiping up that bowl, making it clean. Now we are going to prepare a well-floured surface to kind of knead this on ever so slightly. You want your hands somewhat floury so that it's not going to stick to that bread as well. So I'm going to take this and kind of just dump it out just like this. See, that bowl is pretty well cleaned out, and that's the whole goal. And at the same time, it's still pretty well on this beater, so you're going to need to have a little bit more flour to make sure that it's not sticking all over your hands. That's why you should have your hands pretty well floured even before you start. Because you can see I've got a little bit of it still already sticking to my hands. So hopefully I can get it off before we get it anywhere else. I'm trying to use as much of this as is possible. It does me no good if it stays in the bowl and never gets used. So of course I'm going to get some flour on my hands and I'm just going to knead it. Pretty much the kneading process is not really needed that much, just up until it's not sticking to your hands. It's just about there. Alright, and as you can see, it's not generally, I mean, there's a couple of things that they were probably already on my hands, so they're going to stick regardless. But this bread itself is not sticking to me. Now what I need to do is put it into an already greased bowl. Here I have my already greased bowl. You could use obviously either butter or Crisco, some kind of oil. I used an oil spray, and I'm just going to take this. There we go, and we're going to leave it in there. I'm going to cover it with a towel and leave it in a warm spot in my kitchen for an hour. Now an hour has passed, so as you can see, this is quite a bit more risen than it was. And so now what I got to do is take out a little bit of frustration. If you've got somebody at your work that you're having problems with, kids, partner, hey, you know, beat it up. Maybe not for long, it doesn't really need that much, but it just needs to come down till it's back down to size, just like that. And then you're going to want to take it and do it approximately half. I wish I could say that I know how to make this good, perfect halves, but it's not. It's never worked out that way yet for me, so I just take it approximately about maybe so. I'm trying to make it as even as is possible. And then I'm going to take it and kind of rip it in half as best as I can. Let's see if it's a little bit, this one looks like it's still got a teeny little bit extra, so I'm going to take a little bit off of this one. Okay, there we go. Alright, and then I'm going to try to turn it upside down so it's got a prettier top on it. That's all. This part is actually all about looks. I've got this pan, it's already pre-prepared, it's already been sprayed just like this one was. This I used like some of that oil spray, as I already said. This is also oil spray. I'm going to just take it and kind of try to make it without so many finger marks. But I'm going to put it in there and then put that one in there. Put this one in here. As I already said, they are not going to be even, but you know what? Hey, we've got this, and it looks pretty nice. I mean, it's not perfect by any stretch, but hey, who gives a flying rip about perfection so long as the taste is perfect? Here we've got 2 pans. You do want to have 2 pans. This is going to be way too much for one. And then we're going to put it right in that same warm spot for 1 hour. Let it rise again. Of course, you want it to be covered to make sure that no dust or anything like that can get in there, and we'll be right back. Alright, we've got 10 minutes before the hour is completely ended, so I'm going to go ahead and turn my oven on to 400 degrees. And we'll be back in 10 minutes to put it in. Of course, it doesn't take rocket science to be able to figure out how to put this into the oven, but at the same time, I'm going to just show you. This is so pretty. I think that these are the prettiest loaves I've ever yet made. So yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that I recorded this one so that I could show y'all. It is so pretty right now, and it's going to get in this oven, and then I will show you how it looks once it comes out. And of course, this bread will be in the oven for 30 minutes. And here we have 2 gorgeous loaves of white bread. Done. That simple. I hope that this video has been encouraging because it is so easy, so easy to make your own bread, and it really is not work intensive, only a little bit time intensive, but if you're already home, absolutely have at and enjoy. It is delicious straight out the oven, especially with a little bit of butter and honey, but if you want to use it for sandwiches, super useful, absolutely. With this bread, if you want to store it, I generally put it like in the gallon size Ziploc type bags, and I'll put them in the refrigerator. That way I know they will stay fresh a little bit longer. I hope that my videos have been helpful and educational. If they have been, I hope that you'll click the like button and the subscribe button for the channel and the bell notification so that you'll know every time that I put up a video. Otherwise, I can't think of anything else. Y'all just have a delicious day.